to another edition of Brandon Replay. My name is Greg Norman, your host. There's an old adage that suggests that when you're having fun, time goes quickly. I think that's certainly true of the 2021 sports season. Brandon High School is in week 5 already for football. We had a chance to sit down and talk with Brad Zuby, the head coach, who is now 4-0 after a big 55-0 win over visiting Clio. They take on the visiting Trojans from Owasso this coming Friday. We got a chance to talk to Brad about the last week's game, a little bit about this week's game, and what it was like to lose his quarterback. Micah Miller went down with a broken elbow. I think that Brad kind of hinted that there's a possibility that Micah might be back for the playoffs if the Blackhawks are lucky enough to make it. 4-0, I would think that would be pretty convincing. He had a chance to talk about Micah, but he had a chance to talk a little bit about his team and what's coming up. It's a good interview. It'll give you some insight to Friday's game, and as they always say, go Blackhawks.
Back talking with Brandon High School football coach Brad Zuby. Brad, big 55-0 win over Clio at home. It's always nice to play at the confines of Brandon High School, which makes it nice. You don't have to kind of get on a bus and go a long ways. Kind of gives you, last week, your quarterback goes down. This week, you've got to start, different combination that you had planned for all season. So playing Clio certainly has to help. So my question is, let's talk a little bit about the game, and then obviously what your thoughts on your new quarterback are.
Yeah, so, that was originally supposed to be played at Clio, and they're getting a new turf field in. And so anytime you don't have to take that bus road up to Clio is nice. That's a long ride. So, but yeah, the game went well. We started the game with running our Wildcat package with Dickens in there and got a 14-point lead. And then we said, okay, let's put the freshman quarterback in with a little bit of a lead and see how he does. And, he played very well. Did a lot of good things in running the offense. Ended up going 16 for 20 for 290 yards and 4 touchdowns. So that's a pretty nice debut for the kid to build some confidence up and get his feet wet a little bit. And, we kind of had to take what they were giving us. They were playing us off a little bit. So we ended up, coming hard. So we threw a lot of screen passes, which is, it's a short pass, but it takes a bit of timing and precision. So for a 9th grader to pull some of that off was pretty impressive. And, the balls he did push downfield, he did a nice job. Still, some learning to do and hit some bumps in the road, but, it was a nice win for the guys to pick up some confidence with Lance at quarterback. And Micah's done a great job, just being in his ear and helping him and coaching him up on the sideline. Every time we were on defense and I'd turn over my shoulder, I'd see Micah right there in Lance's ear, coaching him up and giving him confidence and bringing him along. And that's what we expected from Micah, the type of kid he is.
The obvious question, when you're running checkdowns and you're shortening your passing game, that works against Clio. It might work against Owasso. Now all of a sudden you start playing Lennon and Fenton, where teams can come up in the box. Don't you have to at least you take some? I mean, how much of your passing attack goes away when you're only going to pass the ball anywhere from 5 to 10 yards?
Well, I mean, it really wasn't the check down stuff. They were called screen passes just because of the way the defense was playing. So, if we get teams that want to run pressure and play off, that stuff's going to be there regardless of the opponent. So, we trust Lance right now with what he can do, and he's getting better every day. So, we're not trying to shorten the playbook too much. We're trying to get him as much of it as he can handle here between now and when we see Goodrich and Corunna in a couple of weeks. So, getting them ready for those guys.
Is there a silver lining in the back of your brain that you're starting a freshman quarterback, that for the next 4 years you've got that position solidified? And in high school, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, Lance is a pretty special kid, and we'd prefer to have Mike out there playing his senior year and doing everything he wanted to do and accomplishing all his goals. And we're still holding out some hope. When he gets back to the doctor, that we might get a green light for a playoff run with Micah. But, we did the same thing with Micah. We brought Micah up as a freshman, not expecting him to play much, and he didn't have to play much. But we had a lot of games that year with big leads where Micah could come in at halftime and get some confidence. And it just the biggest difference is when that kid comes up as a sophomore to start, he's got some experience under his belt, and it was huge for Micah, and it'll be huge for Lance next year when he, officially takes over the reins, kind of as that signal caller, that he's got, a half a dozen games or whatever under his belt.
Heaven forbid you lose a second quarterback, but if you went to my point, if you go to Wildcat, can you survive running Wildcat all season and not throwing the ball?
I mean, it's not ideal, right? But we've got a few other guys and a few other tricks up our sleeves, and our coaching staff. I'll put those guys up against anybody as far as coming up with new ideas and developing kids and getting us ready to play football. So we'll do whatever it takes to win a football game.
Yeah, but it's one thing to replace the right fielder. It's a whole nother thing to replace the pitcher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hey, it is what it is. It's football, so we're just one week at a time, and let's hope we don't have to cross that bridge.
Defensively, you didn't really face a whole lot with Clio. They look like they were, fairly well coached.
I mean, yeah, they're just, it's another new coaching regime over there with another new, set of playbook and set of plays and verbiage. And, I think we had the same number of kids dressed, though. We're a little dinged up, and they might be a little dinged up too. So I think we're both dressing about 22 kids on Friday night. So, I think size wise, it was a pretty similar matchup. I think, the difference is our kids have been playing in our system for so long, and those kids are learning yet another system. I think the Clio coach is trying to keep his sophomores, as many as he can, down on JV with their freshman class to try to get some success at that level and then bring those guys up together. So I don't think he's playing a lot of juniors and seniors, which I guess, we all are trying to do too. So, they're struggling over there. It's been a while since they've had a winning team, but, their kids had fight in them. They didn't quit. They wanted to play that football game. Last year, I didn't always get that sense from those guys. They were trying to, that they really wanted to be there. These kids wanted to play, and they were into the game. And, to their credit, they put up a fight. Defense did play well, though.
Last observation, it looked like the kicking game kind of got back on track.
Yeah, I mean, it was, we do a lot of situational kicking on the kickoff. So sometimes if you're watching our kickoff team, you're like, oh, why is that ball going there, here, there? We try to do a lot of positioning of the ball when we kick off to try to put ourselves in maybe an advantageous way to, to get the ball. So, and then the extra points were good. Yeah, he hit on his kick. So he's a good player.
So 4-0, you're running scores up. I think you're averaging about 53. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, the numbers are coming. So
I got to think that's got to be towards the top of the state in terms of points production.
Yeah, I think so. I looked at somebody, they don't do a ranking for that, but somebody had a top 100s program, top 100 programs in the state. And I think they had us at 70. And when I looked at, and they had a points for column, and there wasn't anybody in that top 100 listing with more points than we had. And we're at 221 right now in the season. So, it's not something we shoot for. It's not something we're trying to do, but the points have been coming this year.
This week, come back at home, which helps. Homecoming this coming week.
No. Homecoming's Corona. So on October the 8th, this is our salute to service week.
Let me start over. I'll cut this part.
Sure.
You're home against 2 weeks in a row, which makes it nice. You got not the most difficult Owasso team coming in, but it's first responder night. So explain what that is.
Yeah. So, we think Owasso is going to come in and give us a game. They're struggling a little bit, but, they've had a consistent coaching staff over there running their full house tee, and they can get loose on you, with their tight running game if you're not prepared for it. So it's our first responders night, and it's our fourth year doing this. This game, started off as a tribute to Deputy Eric Overall, who lost his life on Thanksgiving Day, tragically, I think 5 years ago now. So he was our, school police liaison officer, and a lot of our kids in the building over the years have had a special relationship with Eric. And even the kids now were, in middle school when he was still an employee here, and his office was based out of the middle school, or out of the Fletcher, when it was still open. So, we try to honor Deputy Overall before that game every year and just keep his memory and his spirit alive within our district. And it's been a nice night, for him and his family, in remembering his honor. And then we, the first year was just dedicated to Deputy Overall. And then since then, we've, just kind of increased, that game as far as who we're honoring. And we've started inviting, all of our local first responders. So, all the Oakland County Sheriff and Fire Department, EMS, they're all invited out to the game, as well as any active and retired military, servicemen are invited as well. And we get everybody lined up together for the national anthem and, just welcome everybody before the game and just kind of tip our caps and thank them for all their service and everything they do for us, in our community and outside with the servicemen. So it's become a nice night. I think we last time we did this, we had last year was a little bit different because of COVID, but 2 years ago we had we have a World War II veteran in town to come out and be our honorary captain. And we're hoping that he's up for it again. We think he's going to join us again for the coin flip. We have a local guy who's very big with our veterans committee. And he does a nice job connecting everybody and getting everybody out for the night. So we're hoping that goes off again. And then this year as well at halftime, we lost 3 members of our football community last spring. All 3 football parents in Janine Coughlin, whose son was an offensive lineman on our 2018 league title team. He was our starting offensive lineman for us. And then we also lost Josh Gullidge and Ken Alderman, whose sons were both on our teams last year. And Ken Alderman has a son on our team this year, still Holden, the senior. And those guys were very instrumental in really raising these kids in this community and being father figures to them and youth coaches. So, we're going to, at halftime, we're going to honor Janine and Josh and Ken and invite their families out to join us at halftime and, just try to have a brief little ceremony just to honor those guys and to be there for their families. And those guys meant a whole heck of a lot to our program and our community. So just going to be part of a nice night to honor everybody that, isn't with us anymore. We definitely missed their presence this year. Seeing Janine on the 50-yard line rooting for us every week and having Josh and Ken, those guys have been staples on our sideline as long as I've been here. So it's been tough not having those guys with us this year. So we want to do something just to honor them.
That's a culture building process as well for your program. Is that pretty accurate?
I mean, we're a family. We're not a football team. We're a family, and those guys were all part of our family. We want to make sure that they're remembered. And, that's part of that's page 1 of our culture is that we're a family, not a football team.
Well, it brings me to an interesting question. And watching video, you're taking a page out of maybe the old Pistons. When you're walking out of the tunnel, there's the smoke and the lights and the band and the whole deal. A lot of high schools don't do that. Is there a particular reason why you do that?
The kids wanted to do it. I'm here for the kids. This is their program, man. I'm just a steward. I'm here for now, and to look over this program, but it's the kids program. And we try to do some things that are fun for them and get kids out for football. And, it gets everybody fired up and the kids enjoy it. And, they came to me a few years ago and said, can we buy fog machines? And I said, well, if you raise the money for it, you can do it. So they did it. And we bought the fog machines, and they have fun. I don't know if you've noticed too, we've had a different uniform combination, for 4 weeks in a row now too. And it's that they're into that. And if that makes them happy, they whatever makes them happy, they're good boys.
As a coach, you want to smoke. As a coach, you want to really get after Oregon and Nike because they've put that culture where you can't just have, I coach the lacrosse team. Heaven forbid we just have one helmet. We better have 2.
It's just something fun for the kids, and again, I told, I said, guys, they do a nice job fundraising. And then we talk about, hey, what do you want this year? And what do you want to get? And we talked about it. So, we've got 4 sets of game pants and 3 jerseys and we can mix and match a little bit. And they, like I said, it's not my thing. It's their thing. And if they enjoy it, God bless them.
We went 14 games this past spring without having to go back to original combination because we bought shorts and the way we bought jerseys and
right.
In the last few, you just kind of match them up differently. But at any rate, I got one really weird question. What is your philosophy on coin tosses other than not kicking twice?
Yeah, I like to get the ball and set the, and just kind of set the tempo for the football game. So we usually, if we win it, we'll just take the ball. I know a lot of guys defer, but we've just been pretty good about taking the ball and getting points on the board. We got a pretty good offense and we have for a long time. And, we like to, I bet we score on our first drive 90% of our games. So
my to be more specific, are you a heads guy all the time, a tails guy all the time, or whatever you felt like that night?
I don't call that. That's up to the kids. Whatever I don't know what they're calling. I just tell them to get us the football.
Okay.
And usually we get it because either we win the toss and take it or the other team defers. So last week was the first time we've kicked off in probably 3 years to start the game.
The reason I asked the question, you're so meticulous about a lot of the way you coach and your process. I thought you'd be all the way down to, the Belichick thing where you're actually looking, we're 80% of the time, heads wins, that type of thing.
Yeah. No, I couldn't tell you if the kids call heads or tails. I leave that up to them.
Okay. Last couple questions. Wassa's coming to town. What do they present defensively? I know you talked a little bit about a full house coming in offensively.
Yeah, they play a little bit of a 4-4 and show us a cover 3 look, and they'll try to load the box on us, and try to take away some of the things we like to do. And we've scored a lot of points against them the last few years, though. So I'm sure they're at home and doing their homework and trying to slow us down a little bit. I don't think it's a secret to anybody in our league that Mike is out, so I think people think they might have an advantage on us. So we've got to keep people on their toes and keep adding new wrinkles like we did for Clio, and keep building on what we do. And so yeah, we'll see a 4-4 look this week, and so we'll get an 8-man box. And our offensive staff they're pretty good, and I think they'll know what to do to attack it the right way. And then offensively, they run a full house tee, and they try to run right at you with trap and power and ISO. And then if you stop that, they have a play action game out of it, and then they like to do some maneuvering with formations to try to trick you into missing the eligible receiver here or there, or getting a guy out late on you. So we've just been spending a lot of work this week on our fits and making sure everybody's accounted for.
Last question. It's an obvious one, but I'm going to ask you to dig a little bit. You had now a chance to play at home, I think 3 out of the 4 weeks, not mistaken?
Yeah, we have 6 home games this year. It's nice.
When you've got the opportunity to finally play in front of a home crowd, yes, it's great. But when you look up versus maybe looking up last year, what's from a coaching perspective, what's it like to have fans back in the stands?
It's just been fun, right? It just feels normal, It's just been nice. The first couple of games last year was just family, right? So you'd look up there and there's 40 people spread out. It was just odd, and then as the season grew, the fan numbers grew to 1,000. And I think by the playoff time, they weren't really looking at numbers much. I think we had a pretty good, we could, when the playoffs started, we could sell the tickets, and if the visiting team didn't buy them, then we could buy the rest. So we had pretty good crowds, starting to feel pretty normal by the end of last year. But then this year, to have the student section back and the band banging and all the fans, we bring out a pretty good crowd. So it's been nice. And then, people that are important to me and my family, being able to invite them out to the games, and myself, last week, my best friends, my childhood best friends, mom and dad were sitting right in the 50-yard line there with their Brandon gear on. So that was, nice to be able to get your own people back in there too, and look up and see some friendly faces. And so, yeah, it's been awesome, and I've gone to the big house the last 2 weeks to watch Michigan play. And that's been fun. Last week, we got a kid playing at Michigan. He was our all-league quarterback in 2018 when we won the league title. And he's a walk-on wide receiver at Michigan. And he got his first playing time in that Northern Illinois game. He played the last 2 series of the fourth quarter. So it was cool to be at Michigan in a packed big house, and brought my sons there for their first trip there. So it's been nice to be back into some regular football and being out and about.
I'm a Spartan, but the best band in the country is still coming out of the tunnel at Michigan.
Yeah, I promise my boys next stop will be Michigan State. They're 9 and 5, and they're little football junkies, so they like going to the games with Dad. So I'll get them to Spartan Stadium, I promise.
Owasso, 7:00 Friday night. Should be
7:00 Friday night. First responders night, and deputy overall never quit night. We have our special police themed memorial flag jerseys with the black jerseys with the blue bar across, and our black pants. So the boys are all fired up to come out in black and give Owasso a game. So it should be fun. We have a traveling trophy too that we do with Owasso too, a salute to service trophy that's pretty cool, that has all the emblems of all the military services, as well as police and fire and paramedics. So it's a trophy. We've held on to it these few years, and we plan on keeping it Friday.
Good luck.
Hey, thanks, man.
Just wanted to thank Brad Zuby for having a conversation with us working on week 5. We talked a little bit about football, and we'll be back next week with what happened with Owasso and Brandon and all the other Blackhawk news. So for the folks in back, my name is Greg Norman. Thanks for watching.